Well, hey everyone, thanks for being here with me. I'm Jairus, and I'm going to teach you this really cool tune called Wonderful Christmas Time, and I hope you are having a wonderful one. I know I am. You can see this vintage Christmas sweater, the candle, the garland, all the stuff. And I am really excited to teach this one to you because it's one of my favorite songs just to play during the Christmas season. A few years ago, I needed to have a solid version of this song, and instead of searching for some guitar versions, I was just like, oh, I'll just create one. And I love this chord progression that we hear. It's really fun to play. It feels great under the fingers. And so this song has a lot of different techniques. I'll just let you know if you want to listen to the whole thing or even the karaoke version without vocals, there's links in the description. So check those out and jump around to the part of the song you'd like to learn if you need with the markers. So let's dive in. Well, this first part of the song is the chorus progression, and this is the backbone of the song. Everything's built off this. And my favorite part. So this is the chorus progression, but we're going to kick off learning the little lick at the top that serves as our intro as well. This chorus progression is also our intro for this version. So the lick, the way I do that is I'm finger picking, right? Now you'll see that I'm holding a pick here in between my first and middle fingers. And that's because later on when it comes to the solo, I'm going to switch real fast to my pick to get that harder attack for the solo. But for the rest of the song, I just hold it in between my fingers. And I'll talk more about that later when we get to the solo. So I'm finger picking, and I'm just plucking the open high E string and hammering my first finger onto the second fret and then pulling off. It's called a flutter. That's all I'm doing. Then I land my first finger on the B string, and I pluck the second fret, slide up to the third, slide back to 2, and then pull off to 0. And then there's 2 more notes. I pluck the second fret on the G with my first finger, and then I hammer my third finger onto the 4th fret of the D. And that's it. I keep that third finger hammered on, and then that keeps sustaining into me actually strumming the first chord of our chorus progression. And this first chord is B minor 7. We're in the key of A major. The original's in B. So if you wanted to play along to the original, put a capo on 2 and then play a whole step up. But my version's in A. And so the first chord of the chorus is a B minor 7. And here's those cool jazz kind of bar chords, jazzy bar chord. First finger is going to bar across from your A string. It's going to mute the low E string, and it's going to play the second frets, just barring all the way across. Our third finger's on the 4th fret of D. The second fret is barred on the G, middle finger's on 3, and then first finger's barring up top, high E. All right? And all I do is I use my thumb, or I could use my fingernail, my first finger, to get a little harder attack depending on what you want it to sound like. Or thumb. It's going to be a little softer. So you can take your pick there, and I'm going to use my thumb for now. So I just strum those 5 strings, A through high E, and then I do this little stop or a slap. I might call it either one. And to create that slapping sound, really the bulk of the sound is coming from your low E and A strings. And you take the side of your thumb and just tap it like that. Your other fingers can hit the strings too, but it's not going to create as loud of a percussive sound. And I'll let my fingernails just kind of hit the strings as well. Okay, so that's what I'm doing anytime you hear that. Then I just play regular old E7, which is open low E, middle finger on 2 on the A, open D, first finger on G on the first fret, and then open B and high E with the slap, just like that, after both of them. Then we're going to take the same shape we did for B minor 7, and we're just going to go up a whole step to C sharp minor 7. And you're going to hear me do this picking pattern here. I'm going to use my thumb to pluck the A string. So same shape, right? I'm doing 4 on the A, then 6, 4, 5, 4 are the fret numbers. So I've got my thumb plucking A, doing a little roll, and then I hook my fingers around already when I set up the chord. My thumb and all my other fingers are ready, and I release my thumb, and then I pluck these 3 fingers, first, middle, and third of my plucking hand on D, G, and B with the slap afterwards. And then I basically do that same thing. I take this same shape, I slide it down a whole step, and I just bump it up a string each, and that becomes F sharp 7. So the fret numbers for F sharp 7, 2, 4, 2, 3, 2, 2. That first finger's barring all the way across. Okay, thumb on low E, it plucks the low E, and the first, middle, and third fingers of your plucking hand are still on D, G, B with the slap. So far we have B minor 7, E7, C sharp minor 7, and F7. You might hear me even do that, where I kind of get a little upstroke on my thumb on just the high E, B, and G strings. Just like that, taking my fingernail with my thumb right before the slap. Then we got 3 more chords. Now we've got a major 7 chord. It's so pretty. First finger's on the 5th fret of A. Then I make this little what I call a triangle shape here. Third finger's on 7 of D. Middle finger's on 6 of G. Pinky's on 7 of B. And you can bar the high E, but with our plucking hand, we're not really plucking the high E. It's still the same strings. Thumb's hitting the A, and then I've curled these fingers around. They pluck D, G, B, the slap. Okay, now we're back to our shape again, our F sharp 7 shape. We've just slid it up another half step to G7. All right, thumb is plucking low E this time. So the fret numbers are 3, 5, 3, 4, 3, 3. And we just do thumb, pluck the D, G, B, slap. And then to end it, we're ending on our 1 chord, the key of the song, A, right? A major 7. So it's A is our first finger on the 5th fret, and then it mutes the A string for us just by bending it over a little. Then we cram our fingers in there, right? Third finger on the, 6th fret of D, pinky on 6th fret of G, middle finger playing the 5th fret of B, and then I don't play the high E on this part. All right? Now, you might hear me go like that on one of the parts of the songs, right? The intro. And I create that real staccato sound with this hand. It's actually releasing the pressure. I don't take it off the strings. I just pluck it, and then I relax my fingers, and it stops the note for me. And I just do that 3 times. And that's it. Or if I'm repeating the chorus, I'll go like that. So it's thumb, pluck, slap. Let's see. And then all together, thumb, first, middle, and third, plucking all those strings. And then I might do a little upstroke with my thumb again, like that. Thumb, pluck, stop, pluck, up, slap. Up, slap. Up, slap. And there it is, and then I can immediately repeat the chorus again. So now we're to the verse of the song, and this is really where the groove kicks in here. And simple as that. Now, these are some complex chord shapes at the end, and this is going to be really fun for you to learn because these are not normal finger shapes right here. So it's just really cool. The first one, though, is pretty normal. This is just a standard A major bar chord shape to start it out. So first finger's on 5 on the low E, then third and pinky fingers on A and D on the 7th, middle finger on 6, and then first finger bars across. Although we're only going to strum 4 strings, E, A, D, and G. So our first finger, we take our fingernail and we just kind of drag it across the E, A, D, and G. Not too fast it's not groovy enough. You kind of want to hear it go as you hear your fingernail slide across those strings. Okay, so we slide it down, we take our thumbnail, we catch the strings with an upstroke, and then we slap down Then you just mute the strings. You let the pressure off your fingers, not take them off the strings, just no pressure. Take your thumbnail again, up, 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 slap. So all together, it feels like this. Down, up, slap. Up, 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 slap. Just like that. Then we're just gonna change the chord shape and keep doing that same rhythmic kind of pattern with our plucking hand here. So the next chord, now this is really a nod to Paul McCartney's writing in the Beatles. They're always doing stuff like this, where it's like A major 7, A7. We're walking down that one note, and it changes, and it feels like it's progressing, right? It's walking down from here to here to here. And then we're gonna take it further and go here and here, like this. So we've done that A major. Now we're going to A major 7. Our first finger stays, but we rearrange these other fingers. Pinky is now on 7 on the A. Middle and third finger, middle and third on the 6th fret of D and G. And we do those same 4 strings with our fingernail. Down, up, slap, up, 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 slap. Ah, so nice. All right, now we change to A7. First finger stays, barring. So now it's 5, third finger on 7 on A, barring the 5 on the D, middle finger on 6 of G. And then we get that pattern. Okay? Now here's where it gets funky. We change up our fingers here, and this is basically A6. We're adding the 6th note of the A major scale. And it's middle finger now for our bass note, 5th fret on low E, pinky on 7, first finger on 4 of the D, and third finger on G. Now, this might feel really weird to you or be hard. Now, when I was coming up with this arrangement, I knew that I wanted to hit this note, so I had to kind of figure out an arrangement for my fingers and then just practice landing this shape, and it took me a little bit. So if this is feeling hard for you, then that's normal, okay? And I'm just doing down, up, slap on this chord. That's it. Then I take it one note further, and we flatten that 6th note. It's like a flat 6 or a sharp 5. Call it either one. And we push it down one more to the 3rd fret. You've really got to stretch that hand. If you need to, drop your thumb down a little bit, push your wrist forward and out, and it will help you get that spread if you need. Okay? And then we do the same thing, down, up, slap. So the whole progression, then A major 7, then A7, then A6. Now you'll notice that when I'm getting these shapes ready, I'm still having to do this rhythmic sound, so I make sure to always keep my fingers touching the strings. Even while I'm moving them, they're always touching. They're just relaxed so that I can keep that muted sound. Okay, especially when I'm changing to this one. I just, see how they're still on the strings? And that's your verse. So after the verse is another chorus, and after that chorus we jump into the boys choir bridge part where you've got the boys choir singing along, and I tried to write a part that just seemed pretty accessible, kind of had that groove to it to match the other parts. So that's the first part, and then we've got octaves, add the harmony note, then like a simple picking pattern. D sus2. And those are the 3 parts of the bridge. So I'm going to break it down in those 3 sections. Let's start by learning the first one here. These are just double stops, right? Means 2 notes at a time, and we're muting or not playing the other strings. So we start with a little slide in. Makes it a little bluesier. I'm using my first and middle finger on, that would be middle finger 5 of the G and first finger 4 of the B. And then I just pluck with my first and middle finger on my plucking hand, and I just slide it up to 6 and 5. Now, because I've used these 2 fingers, I'm ready to play the next chord. I keep my middle finger where it is, on 6, and I add my third finger to 7 on the D, and I use my first and middle finger again to pluck those two strings, D and G. Now, to this next chord, I keep my third finger, and I call it, well, in this case, normally when I say anchored, it means that it doesn't move at all, but it is anchored on that string at least. It's staying on the same string, sliding on your D down to the 4th fret, and then it guides you, is really what it's doing. And then your first finger's on the 2nd fret of the G. So it just slides down. You can even get some pressure where we hear that slide, like that, to 4 and 2. So far. Then I pick up my fingers, first and middle fingers again, middle finger on 5 of the A, first finger on 4 of the D. Okay, then I use my thumb and first finger to pluck this on low E and A, third finger on 7 of low E, first finger 5 of A. Let's see. Okay, so 2 more chords for this little round of it. So third finger on 7 of A, middle finger 6 of D, and I make those staccato just by letting the pressure off, as we talked about earlier. I play it twice, and then I end with middle finger on 5 of low E, first finger on 4 of A. And I do a little slap actually, after those 2 staccato notes, and then another slap after that 5 and 4. And then I really crank it a little harder, that little slide, just to accent it. And then we're basically going to play these first few chords. They're the same, these double stops. So same thing as what I just taught you, but then we're going to switch to 4 on low E and we're plucking thumb and first finger here. 4 on low E, 2 on A. And then now we're playing 3 strings at the same time here. Open low E with our thumb, and then middle finger on our chording hand is playing 5, third finger is playing 6 on the D, and I pluck those together, and then I go with my fingernail down, 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 up with my thumb and slap, down, 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 up. Just like that. And that's the first part of our bridge. So all together. All right, now we're starting the second part of our bridge, and this is what I call the octave part, because these are octaves. This is A and A. And I'm using my first finger and pinky on my chording hand. You could use your third finger. My pinky's just, it's so available, it's just so comfortable to just pop my pinky up there. So I'm using my thumb and first finger, because again, I'm holding that pick in between my fingers. You could use your middle finger, whatever's comfortable for you on your plucking hand. So I'm using my thumb and first though. I'm plucking, what is this, 5 and 7. 5 on the low E, 7 on the D. And then I go with a little slap after it. So pluck, slap. I slide it down a whole step to 3 and 5. Then down a half step to 2 and 4. Then I let my first finger slip off the low E. Pinky comes down to the 2nd fret of D. And I pluck low E and D again. All right, now our first finger is going to hit those same bass notes on the low E, but we're going to add a harmony note here on the G. All right, so first finger's 5, and I use my third finger on the G. And now I'm switching on my plucking hand to thumb and middle finger, low E and G. So 5 and 6, and then I slide to 3 and a 4. Now I change this up. Third finger comes down to 2, but my middle finger now replaces my first finger with 2 on the low E. And then I slide down one more, middle finger goes away, first finger and open low E. Or sorry, not first finger, first fret on the G with our third finger, and then open low E. So, like that. So our octave part, then our harmony part. Now on this, when I just did this without thinking, where I was letting it flow naturally, I actually switched to my first finger to play that first fret. So there's different variations, different ways you can do it, whatever you're comfortable with. And then the third part of our bridge is this this little picking pattern. So this is 3 chords, and these might feel complex to you if you've never done these kinds of bar chords, but trust me, if you get it down, it's really worth it because it makes some awesome tones, and it's a great shape for your fingers to be in to allow you to play some really nice jazzy kind of stuff in R&B land. Okay, so this first chord is just D major, and it's our first finger on the 5th fret of A, and then our 3rd finger is actually going to bar across. Now, some of you might be used to using all 3 fingers to play this, but I want you to bar, and you're about to see why, because we need it for the next, we need it to set up our next chord shape. So first finger on 5, then 3rd finger bars, and you can push that back knuckle up. If you push it up, it'll allow you to drive your finger and curve it on the bottom side to smash your skin into those 7th frets of D, G, and B. So 5, 7, 7, 7. Okay, and the picking pattern is A, B, G, D, B, G, D, A, like that. A, B, G, A, B, G, D. Then we keep that 3rd finger barred. Here's the cool thing. We're gonna bar it even further, and it's gonna bar our high E also, so that's 4 strings. Now this might feel really funky to you if you've never done this. It took me a while to get this too, okay? So you're in good company if you're feeling like it's tough. Middle finger is gonna play 7 on the low E, and it's going to mute the A. So you can just have it really flat because it's muting the A string anyway. So 7, mute, then 7, 7, 7, 7. All right, let me think about the picking pattern here. It goes low E, D, G, B, high E, B, G, D. Just kind of in a row. All right, now, if that wasn't crazy enough, here we go. Here's D sus2. All right, another bar chord. I just leave the tip of my 3rd finger on that D string, and then my 1st finger is now gonna bar the 5th frets. It's gonna start on the A string and mute the low E. So I mute the low E just by butting it up against the side of it, right? And even though we're not plucking that, you just want your normal way of playing this chord to have it already muting your low E in case you're strumming one day. It'll already be muted for you. You'll be used to it. So 1st finger's muting low E, playing 5th fret of A, 3rd and pinky fingers on 7, D and G, and then 1st finger bars the B and high E. All right? So it goes like this: A, D, G, B, high E, B, G, D. Again, just in a row. And then back down again. And then I just let the pressure off my hand. And that's the end of the bridge. So all together, that little picking pattern, D major, and then, what would this be? B minor 7, and then D sus2, and then let the pressure off. So all together, sounds like this. Octaves, and add the harmony, then the picking pattern, D major, B minor 7, D sus2, let the pressure off. Well, now we're to our solo, and this is a favorite part of mine. It's just nice and quick, 8 bars, but it covers a lot of ground technique-wise. So if you're dabbling and soloing, you want to up your game in your soloing, I think this is a great one for you, and I think you'll see that as we go through it. So let me play it, for you kind of slow and talk you through it. We start with a little slide in here. Hammer-ons. A little double bend. Some vibrato and a slide. So that's our solo. So let me walk you through it. Here we go. A lot of times to get into a solo, it's real exciting to do like kind of a muted slide where we slide down and into the note. So I'm not pressing down too hard on my low E string. This is on my low E. I just kind of lightly press down, so I do get some tone, but it's not too loud, and that makes it sound really nuanced and professional. And you even hear me do that. do a few muted strums, and then slide in. All those little things help get the crowd or the listener to be like, oh, something's about to happen. Something cool is about to happen. So we slide in, and as I slide down to that second fret, I get my first finger ready on the second fret of A, and then I'm just following like a A major pentatonic scale. So I'm hammering my third finger on the 4. Now when I hammer, I like to keep my first finger down and not lift it, not lift the pressure until the hammer is all the way down. Now that last string, I'm going A, D, G, just hammering 2 to 4. On that last one, I hold the 2 a little bit, a little bit longer than the others. All right, now once I hammer that 4th fret on the G, I'm actually gonna slide it to 6, and that's gonna move us to a different position on the neck. Like that, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, that third finger. All right, and that moves us up to this position so that I can play 5 and 7, nice and loud. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I've switched to my pick, and earlier, if you remember me saying that at the beginning of the video, I was gonna keep this in my finger, in between my fingers like this the whole song until the solo. And that's because if I were doing this live, that's what I'd have to do. And so what I do to switch really fast like that is I've got that pick in between my fingers right above my knuckle. I put my thumb basically on the pick. I start to put it on the pick, and then I slip my first finger off. And then I put my first finger behind the pick, so I'm holding it like normal. And then I can go in reverse by putting it on my middle finger and grabbing it again like that to switch back to finger picking. And you might need to practice that to get really fast so that you could do it instantly in a song. But that's what I'm doing here, and so now I've got my pick. I can make that nice hard attack. So we left off, we were on 5 and 7 on the B string, first finger, third finger, letting the pressure off, make them staccato. All right? And then I'm doing this, a double bend, we're bending it twice. What you might have noticed is I've recruited, I call it recruiting, my other fingers, my middle and first finger, they're both on the B string now as well, even though my third finger's making the note. And then I just bend it. It's like a whole step bend. I'm trying to make my 7th fret sound like 9. And then I bend it again. You might notice that I even catch that G a little bit, where you hear it kind of ring out. That's okay. You can let it do that. Just if you're going really hard, sometimes you might hear it. Sometimes you might not, though. You might mute it just perfectly, and you never hear it. But see, even there you can kind of hear it a little bit. But I just do it twice. Bend up, pull back down, and push up again. Let it hold, and then come back down slowly. Okay? And then I take these same fingers, just drop them to high E. That's what it sounds like. 5, 7 with my third finger. I recruit my fingers again, all on the high E. Bend up, like a whole step bend. But at the top of the bend, I let the pressure off so that I don't hear it come back down. I just hear it go bleh, and then I bring it back to normal and play 7-5 in reverse. Then what I do, we're sliding to a new position on the neck. Big slide here. I play the 7th fret, and as soon as I play it, I slide my third finger up to the 12th fret. And then, after that 12, I play 10-9 with my middle and first finger on the high E. And then pinky grabs 12 on the B. And so that's how I transition up to this part. Now I keep that pinky there. I'm gonna bar now to play the next little part of this solo. This is kind of the part that sounds like rocking around the Christmas tree. Oop. Okay, so I'm barring the whole time, double 9s on B and high E with my first finger. I'm gonna really curve that pinky around so that it doesn't accidentally mute the high E. And I'm gonna play 12, and then my first finger's barring, so it's gonna play 9 on high E. My pick, I'm just gonna down, up, down, up. Okay, so after that, I keep my first finger barring, switch to my middle finger on 10, play a downstroke, and then I just go all 9s here. down, up, and then back to 10 and 9 with my middle finger. Okay, now I am muting, all right, these other strings. That's why you're not hearing like my G or the D even, okay? Well, I'm not really muting the D, but let me see here. I'm definitely muting my G though, right? So my first finger's butting up against the side just to make sure that doesn't ring out at all. If you don't mute that, it's gonna sound like this, and it's gonna sound awful. So you gotta mute that string just by letting it touch the side of it, all right? Double 9, dun, dun, dun. After we play that last B in high E, double 9, I push my first finger up to 9 on the G, and then finish with 11, third finger on the D. And I put a little vibrato on it, I think. Like that, real quick. Vibrato I do by keeping my finger stiff and twisting my wrist a little bit to pull my whole hand. And then I just pull it down and back to normal, down, back to normal. Okay? And that's that part of the solo. Now we're kind of to the last part. That's what it sounds like. So, what I'm doing here, again, all 3 fingers. I'm on the 14th fret of my high E, third finger's making that note. I do this cool little blues muted rake. All right, so how does this work? Well, I use my hand, the side of my palm here, and I just put it on the strings, and then I rake my pick across, and then once I get to the high E, I lift my hand. So it's a timing issue. You gotta... And then as soon as I get there, I let go and I do a bend. It's like a little half-step bend, really. Not much of a bend. So I go up, I cut the note off, come back to normal, 14, 12. Then I slide my first finger down to 10. And I do a really fast hammer on, like a little grace note. And I hammer on to 12. And then I play 10 again. Then I slide down to 9. Then my middle finger, B string, it's a pull off, 10 to 9. Then I go third to first finger on the G, pull off again, and then I land on 11 on the D. So all together that part. Put some vibrato, slide down, and there's your solo. Well, now, right after the solo, we get to kind of the bonus section of the song, which is the drum breakdown part. We actually create a drum sound with our guitar. And this is really fun and exciting when you do this live. It really gets the crowd into it, especially when you're plugged in and you're hitting right there on the bridge and you've got your bridge pickup. It makes a nice sound over the sound system. So, and this is what I did in the real recording as well. I recorded it this way. So what I do is I, again, put that pick back in between my first and middle finger, and then I just use my palm here and I just hit right directly on my bridge. It creates that nice sound. Then I mute my strings by just putting my hand on it or my sleeve, and then I take the side of my thumb and I just tap it real hard right here on the shoulder. Creates that nice sharp sound like a snare. And I might even create a little hi-hat sound with my voice if I'm not having to sing. And that's it. So in that drum breakdown part, you're just hearing me go. And then, of course, once that part's done, I just grab that pick again. Well, actually, that's not true. I guess I just keep it like this. I use my fingernail, and I just start hitting muted strings, and then I jump back into that chorus. Kind of do a tag. I go between B minor 7, E7, B minor 7, E7, and then I end it like that. I play A major 7 again, but I take my first finger and I bar the high E. And I go like that. I go E, D, G, and B, and then high E. Or no, I guess I grab E, D, G, and then B and high E together. There you go. That ends the song. Well, that's the lesson. I hope you had a great time learning it, and enjoyed, just me covering a lot of different techniques here in this song. So if it can help you and others to have a wonderful Christmas time, then I think I've done my job. So really appreciate your support. I also want to remind you that there are tracks to this that you can play along the whole thing. There's also a karaoke one if you'd like to try to sing along as well. So take advantage of those. Links are in the description. But other than that, Merry Christmas.